Everyone, I hope you all are doing well. This is Radhika here again, and this video is going to be about tips on living with or being with a narcissistic person. And the topic today is understanding comparisons. NPD people will often compare you with other people, and this serves two purposes for them. The first one is they are making you feel not good enough, and the second purpose is that they are creating some shame inside of you for being yourself. And again, the reason they do this is because when they were kids, their parents must have done this with them. So if they when they were a toddler or they were a kid and they did something wrong, so instead of correcting their behavior in a normal manner, saying that what you did was not that good, so can you try not doing that again, please, something like that. What their parents did was they made them feel a sense of shame for what they did. So they must have said that you always do this and you are so untidy. Look at your sister is so tidy. So basically what they're doing is, instead of uh, instead of correcting the action that the child took, which was maybe like, whoever the child is, they spilled something, or they made a mess somewhere. So instead of saying that the action they did was not a very good action, they should not have made a mess, what they will do is they will start attacking the child's personality. So they will call the child messy, and then they will say, but see, your sister is so tidy. So basically what they're doing is they don't know how to parent in a good way. They don't know. They are criticizing the doer of the action, not the action. So like Gandhiji said, like Mahatma Gandhi said, you hate the action that the enemy is doing, but you love the enemy. So that was a very elevated way of saying that. But in general, even when kids do bad things, you don't have to label the kid as being bad. You can just tell them that the thing that they are doing is not such a good thing. So this was a very common parenting style in the early ages, because once a child feels shame about something, they actually don't do it again, because shame is one of the lowest vibration of emotion that human beings feel. Shame and guilt are really down there. They are even lower than hate. So yeah, once you put that emotion into a child, it's pretty much sure that the child won't do it again, because the child has started putting that part of his personality in the shadow. So you have started the process very early on of making the child feel not good enough. So this is what happened with the narcissistic person when they were a child, because maybe their parents did not know how to parent in a good way. And if you have access to the narcissistic person's history, or if you talk to the narcissistic person and sometimes ask them about their childhood, they might tell this to you. Somewhere it might slip out. So yeah, this was a very common thing in the olden days, and it's not good. It's not good to compare kids to their sister or brother or friends or anyone like that. You have to kind of cherish the child for who they are. And if they do an action which is not like not good, so you just criticize the action. Don't criticize the child for doing that action. So yeah, so when a child grows up in such an environment and later on they have no tools to correct it, so maybe later in life they become a malignant narcissist, they start reliving the same conditioning that they received when they were a kid. And for a malignant narcissistic person, there is a major blockage in the Swadhisthana chakra, which is the sacral chakra. So this chakra is the one that makes a person flexible, makes a person adaptable. They are able to go with the flow of life. And a malignant narcissistic person lacks all of these qualities. They cannot change themselves, they cannot learn, they cannot go with the flow of life. They want life to go according to how they perceive it to be. So that is why a malignant narcissistic person has a very hard time in changing these negative patterns about their own personality, and they are completely unaware of it, or maybe they might be aware that this is a bad thing, but the blockage in the sacral chakra completely hampers their quality to kind of change this about themselves. So yeah, and also because of this deep rooted shame that they have about being not good enough, they are constantly internally comparing themselves with everyone. And if they blame you, then it is very possible that they see you as a threat, and a way to kind of dim your light is to blame you, because that is how their light was dimmed, when they were a child. So they know that, some part of them knows that you can kind of kill a person's spirit by doing this, because their spirit was killed when they were a child. So so that is why they are always comparing themselves against other people, and they will also compare people in their surroundings to other people. So their life is always by comparison. They can not be so happy just being themselves. They have lost that quality. So when a narcissistic person in your life compares you to another person or something like that, what you can do is just think of this scenario. If a lizard enters the room that you are in, like a lizard on the wall, right? And Swadhisthana chakra, the sacral chakra, it represents the reptilian brain. The reptiles usually, they live in fight or flight. They don't live in rest and digest. So their whole life is mostly about survival. Either they survive or they die. That's the two things that they do. So imagine a lizard entering your room, and it's frantic, right? It entered your room and now it's trying to get out, and you look at that lizard and you're kind of creeped out by it and you want it to leave the room. So you open a window in the room so that the lizard can go out from there. But the lizard is not going to actually observe the surroundings enough to understand that, oh, that's the way I can exit from. So what the lizard will do is it will kind of keep scrambling around, and then it might find a place to hide, and it will hide there for ages, for days even, because it's so scared that it cannot move from that place. And then suddenly it will move and it will leave, maybe one day. So that's how the reptilian brain is. It is always in fight or flight. It cannot actually, it lacks the ability to learn. But sometimes they do. Sometimes a lizard might actually reach that point in his conscious, in that lizard's consciousness, of actually observing that the window is open, and it can actually escape from that window by actually observing and deciding to escape from there. So at that point the lizard's consciousness has risen, to the next level of, maybe it'll be reborn as a mammal or something like that. So yeah, so every time a narcissistic person compares you to someone, you can think of this lizard scenario, and you can kind of feel that that's how the narcissistic person's brain is working. And maybe that will give you some perspective and help you somehow. So yeah, that was this video, and I wish you all a lot of love and a lot of light. Thank you. Bye.